Hey guys, before we get into today's video, I just wanted to come in here as I am editing this video right now, and unfortunately, the audio in this first version of this episode is corrupted, of course, and totally dysregulated throughout. And I'm just having to walk the walk of my episode this week and post this imperfectly. And, I have been making a promise to myself to start these and to, those of you who have followed me on Instagram too, that I'm going to start uploading to YouTube now. And life has just been happening and getting in the way. And I keep making excuses of reasons why not to do it. And so I promised myself for this new moon that I would follow through on this. And so here we are. I am posting imperfectly. So just know that in future episodes coming, I will work on the audio. Unfortunately, my microphone was going out and I didn't know that it was going out, even though I tested it right beforehand. So it is what it is. And let's go ahead and get into it. I know it is a little bit echoey in here since it's an empty room, but they say comparison is the thief of joy. So we're gonna say perfection is the thief of progress. An echoey room we shall have. Hello and welcome to, I don't know what the hell these videos are going to be called. Maybe you guys can help me come up with a name for this new thing that I am bringing to YouTube, although it's not so new. Those of you who don't know me, haven't met me, my name is Ashley Gonzalez. I am an astrologer, a somatic breathwork practitioner, and just a fellow girl who likes to track the moon and the stars and then share my findings with you. So for the last couple of years on Instagram, I have been posting these new moon and full moon carousel posts chocked full of information regarding each lunation. Now that I have transitioned away from Instagram posting for Move, Breathe, Heal, and I'm testing out YouTube now, I wanted to see what it would look like, feel like, use all of this new start energy that we're gonna get into the nitty-gritty of in this video in utilizing it for myself by bringing something new to the YouTube space and start reactivating my own voice. And what better way to do that than to talk about the moon on YouTube? That sounds pretty fun to me. So these posts on Instagram were really all about how to use our free will when it comes to the cosmic energy. I personally am not a fatalistic astrologer, not fatalistic meaning death, but fatalistic meaning the astrology dictates our fate for us. I am an astrologer who does believe in free will and agency. And so what better way to use our free will than to bring awareness of the cosmic weather, the cosmic energy that we are being presented with, and making a choice. Are we going to make the choice that's going to help us flow with the energy that we're being presented with? Or are we going to make a choice that's going to be destructive, make us fall back into patterns of shadow, subconscious tendencies, self-sabotage, things like that? So with these videos, instead of coming at you with a bunch of astrology language and jargon that 99% of people aren't going to understand, aren't going to learn about, I am going to walk you through in these videos what this energy actually feels like each new moon, each full moon, because it's going to be different each lunation. The planets communicate with each other in different ways depending on where the moon is at in the sky in relation to the other planets that are in the sky. We'll be walking through what each lunation's energy actually feels like in real life so that you can bring that energy into your awareness. And we're going to talk about what type of actions actually flow with that type of energy and what type of actions or behaviors will make things feel harder for you or create blocks or create destruction, self-sabotage.
And we'll also talk about exactly how you can best utilize the energy in a way that actually supports your evolution, that supports your goals, rather than keeping you stuck in the same patterns, blocked, and not listening to what the universe is asking of you at that time. If you followed me before on Instagram with these posts, I also love giving you guys a couple of journal prompts that align with energy of that lunation, as well as action pieces like embodiment practices and rituals that you can actually lean into that energy and like create a vibe that moon when it comes to your goals, how each lunation is going to affect the collective. We talk about the overview, the journal prompts, the embodiment practices, all the things that would be helpful for us to lean into and what we can shy away from or address within ourselves. And these videos and these posts are something that I would like to do pretty consistently on here. I'm not gonna set myself up for failure here and say it's going to be every single lunation or every single major transit, but I will be doing it as often as I have the capacity for, which in my brain would be every single new moon and full moon, but we all know life happens. And for this week's new moon, we have a very intense and activating one coming for us in Aries. Hence the red, the bright red. Fiery energy. I am trying to embody as much Aries energy as I can, because you guys will see in my own birth chart when I break it down for you that I don't have any natal Aries placements at all in my chart. So Aries energy can feel a bit unfamiliar for me, but at the same time, I don't have any of my own personal planets really dictating or blocking my Aries energy going on. So I'm feeling pretty good with all this Aries energy going on right now in the cosmos. But let's break it down, why it's feeling so spicy this week, why it's feeling so intense, how you can best lean into the energy, what's going to destroy you this week, and what's going to be the best way to lean into the Aries new moon energy as you start a brand new 6-month chapter. Because, fun fact, every single new moon, every single full moon starts a new 6-month cycle. So since we're going into new moon energy, anytime there's a new moon, it's a really good time to set goals, set intentions, reflect, go inward. And anytime there's a full moon, it's a really good time for releasing and letting go and exposing what's underneath the surface. So let's see what's in store for your next 6-month chapter. And before we get into the nitty-gritty of it all, I am a Western tropical astrologer who uses a blend of whole sign and Placidus house systems. Now, for the sake of simplicity in these videos, I do stick to whole sign house systems. So I live in Utah. We are on mountain time, and that will be the time of day for the reflections and calculations that I am using. So let's dive into the new moon in Aries. This Aries new moon is happening at 27 degrees on Friday, April 17th, 2026. Like I said, this new moon is happening at 27 degrees of Aries, and it is joining up, conjunct, or making friends with Chiron. Conjunctions also mean, they're just hanging out. They're hanging out together. They're friends. And while this new moon in Aries is happening, we have such a concentrated stellium of planets. A stellium means 3 or more planets in the cosmos in Aries at the same time as this new moon. We have the sun in Aries, the new moon in Aries, Chiron in Aries. We also have Mercury, Mars, Neptune, and Saturn are all hanging out together in Aries at the same time as this new moon conjunct Chiron in Aries. What the F does all that mean? This is where that's going to happen, because what do you mean there's an Aries stellium conjunct Chiron? None of that pertains to 99% of people when you talk about it. So Let's break it all down. Let's make it simple and easy for you to understand. So let's start with the fact that all of this Aries energy, aka an Aries superstellium, this creates an extra concentrated and potent energy of Aries themes and Aries energy. Think of this week and basically the next couple weeks, your favorite Aries friend in your life that's like on serious stimulants. That's like on 5 different uppers every day and they are just cracked out full of energy. That is the energy that we are working with this week. It is super potent, it's super fiery, super spicy. Respectfully, my heart is going out to all of the moms who are birthing babies this week, because let me tell you, mamas, your baby is going to be freaking unstoppable. Your child is going to be full of Aries, full of action, full of initiation, full of bravery and courage, and just with all of the bravery and courage and initiation type of energy that Aries brings, it can also bring a lot of impulsivity, a lot of reactiveness, a lot of war themes and fighting type of energy. And then you add in, the reactiveness and impulsivity with warlike energy. And, I'm just saying, your child probably isn't going to sleep much, probably isn't going to be afraid to do anything or make big changes or like have a problem with self-confidence. That is not going to be your child. Not with this much Aries in the cosmos. But I digress. What even is Aries energy? Let's talk about that. Aries is all about courage. Aries is the very first sign in the zodiac. And so therefore it is all about initiation. It's all about new beginnings. And new beginnings take courage. They require action. They require some risk. If any of you have an Aries in your life, I'm married to one myself. Gage is an Aries. And I have quite a bit of Aries energy in my life. And I love Aries because they are some of the most authentic truth tellers that you will ever have in your life. Now, they might hurt your feelings with their bluntness and with their authenticity, but I personally love it because sometimes we need tough truths and we need someone to tell us, like, get out of your pity party and do something about it. I love this about Aries energy, and they will tell you the truth that you don't want to hear, but you need to hear. So yes, Aries energy, generally speaking, is all about action. It's all about courage, authenticity, new beginnings, and initiation. Aries is the part of the chart that we tend to have a little more confidence in. This is obviously a generalization. I am not going to know unless I see your individual chart. So allow me to say during this Aries season that not everything is going to apply here to you specifically. This is a generalized statement. But Aries is generally the part of our chart where we have more courage, we have more boldness, we have less fear. It's the part of us that takes action and moves forward without overthinking, without processing, without planning it, and just taking the risk and allowing clarity to come after the action is taken. That's the part of our chart that we're working with when we're talking about Aries. And guess what? Every single person has all 12 zodiac signs somewhere in their chart. You may not have any planets there, but it will always rule over one specific part of your chart. Just like me, I don't have any Aries placements, and so Aries energy can feel a little bit unfamiliar for me, but it is still ruling the 3rd house in my astrology chart. So it rules over my voice, my mental space, my conscious thoughts, things like that, but particularly my voice. I personally am utilizing this Aries new beginning energy by speaking to you guys, by teaching, by creating these videos in a way that I haven't done before, in a way that feels risky and unfamiliar. I have a lot of trauma around my voice and speaking up and being bold and trusting my voice. And so this is the area of my own chart that I'm working with. And so you can see there's going to be some area of your life that's being highlighted right now, and it's probably where you have Aries because of all of this cosmic energy that is concentrated in that area of your chart right now. Now let's bring in Chiron, the asteroid that this new moon in Aries is meeting up with in the zodiac. Chiron is an asteroid in our birth chart that represents our deepest insecurities and our deepest wounds that we were brought in this life to heal and to help others heal as well. It kind of represents that deepest ouch. It's like, ugh, I don't like talking about this. I don't want anyone to know about this. That area of shame and insecurity. So with this new moon in Aries involving Chiron, it may be bringing up some ouches around your own impulses, around your own insecurities, around your own themes of impulsivity and reactiveness and being quick to anger, whether that's being projected onto you because of the inner work that you have done to heal your insecurities, or whether you are projecting those themes onto other people in your life because you haven't done the work to reflect on those insecurities. This energy combined can kind of feel like, I know I need to take action on this thing. I know I need to be brave. I know I need to do something different, but I'm feeling insecure about it. I'm not confident that I won't mess it up again. So I want to shrivel up. I want to hide. I want to project my insecurities onto others. That's how this energy can kind of feel. So if we're talking about this Aries new moon in general, with all of those planets going on in Aries, as well as the new moon conjunct Chiron, this new moon is basically saying, sit with your fear, look at it in the face, and step forward with bravery authentically. And it's probably not going to feel subtle. I don't know if you know any Aries in your life, but they are not subtle people in general. Aries energy isn't subtle. It might even feel like it's an area of your life that you feel like you've been at war with, that you have to fight for what you want in this area of life. It might even feel like a pressure or an urgency to change, or an urgency to take bold action and take bold risk in your life in order to heal patterns that haven't worked well for you before, that have instilled your insecurities instead of healing them. And the only way to heal our insecurities is to approach them differently and to face them and to sit with the ouch, to sit with the sting, to sit with the thing that we don't want to face within ourselves, to sit with the thing that we tend to see in everybody else except for ourselves, whether those are positive traits or whether those are negative traits. This can also look like wanting to start something new, wanting to speak up more, wanting to make more decisions out of instinct and intuition instead of off of impulse and reactivity. I actually had this come through with a client astrology session earlier this week, that instinct is not the same thing as impulse, and Aries is very much the fine line and the balance between those two things. Instinct and intuition is going to be the thing that helps us grow and evolve and bring us into the most authentically aligned outcome for us. Whereas impulses can be the thing that sabotage and destroy our growth, destroy our evolution. We might have an instinct or urge, a pull to start a new project, or to apply for a specific job that we haven't heard of, or walk into a random bookstore that you haven't walked into, and you might end up having the most beautiful interaction, or get the job of your dreams, or meet someone in that bookstore that you never would have met if you didn't trust that instinct or urge, right? But on the flip side, we can have an impulse to eat an entire bag of cookies in one sitting when we have health goals. Or we can have an impulse to spend all the money in our bank account when we have a savings or debt payoff goal. So do you see what I mean by instinct and intuition is not the same thing as impulse and reactivity? So just kind of notice that. with this new moon and what's coming up for you this week around instinct versus impulse. And back to what I was saying before that tangent, this energy can feel like wanting to start something new, having the instinct, having the urge to speak up more, but you might still feel that internal resistance and insecurity and not trusting yourself in the process. And this new moon is asking you to face that resistance, to face that insecurity, to face that ouch that tends to hold you back and keep you small. Facing that with bravery, with authenticity, with faith, with truth, and dive in 10 toes deep. Because if you have been dealing with clarity versus confusion or murkiness, fogginess, not knowing who you are, if you have been falling into the shadow sides of Aries where you're feeling more reactive, you're feeling more impulsive, you're more scattered, if you're a person that's not familiar with the energy of taking a risk, taking action so that clarity can come after the action, if you're a person that typically plans everything and is perfectionistic and is constantly processing and internal and planning, but never taking the action step, I'm here to tell you that we are now in an energy where processing and planning is not going to bring you the clarity that you are seeking and looking for. The only thing that will bring you the clarity that you are looking for is going to be through bold, authentic, truthful action that makes you feel brave, that, is your first gut instinct to go towards without overthinking about it, without overanalyzing it, without planning it, without being perfectionistic about it. What is the very next action piece that you can take right now, today? That is the energy that we're working with, and that is the energy that will bring you more clarity if you are confused during this time. So now we're going to move into less. So now we're going to move into the less of this, more of this segment. This is going to be the easiest and simplest way for me to break down how to actually utilize this energy, what to lean into, and what triggers to see within yourself as they come up for you over the next couple weeks. There are going to be ways to show up in this energy that will be really supportive for you. There's also going to be ways you can show up that will bring more chaos and destruction into your life if you aren't aware of the way that you are using it. This is where intentionality comes in. So just think of this segment as less of this, more of this. When I see this energy coming up, I need to lean into more of the stuff that's going to support me. With this Aries new moon and all of this Aries energy, we are going to be intentional about overthinking every step before we take action. Less of that. Waiting to feel ready or waiting to feel more confident. We're done waiting to feel those things. Less of that. Less impulsive reactions from our emotional insecurities and wounds. Less of that. Not going to be tolerated by the collective at this time. Projecting our anger, our frustration, fear, and insecurities onto those around us or authority figures, those things that we judge others for and project onto others for. Less of that. It's not going to be tolerated right now. So if you're projecting your anger, if you're projecting your frustration, if you are projecting your own insecurities onto other people, less of that right now. It's not going to be tolerated well at this time. If you are doing that, it's time for you to reflect and take action so that you are able to get that anger, get that frustration out of your body in a constructive way that isn't projecting it onto other people. Less of that. It also moves me into less sitting in our processing, wallowing in our feelings, analyzing, processing, talking about it. We're doing less of that. Analyzing, sitting still, sitting with ourselves, this, that, and the other, without actually moving forward and taking action. Less of that. That is not going to be tolerated well right now either. It doesn't mean don't process at all. It just means do it in a way that's going to actually bring you to action and then take said action. You can draft a business plan 500 times. You can plan out an idea. You can plan out a weight loss plan. You can go to therapy every week, but if you are not actually taking the required action to make said changes, you are stuck in processing, you are stuck in analyzing. We're doing less of that. We are taking bold action right now. Now that we have wrapped up what we are doing less of, just know that this Aries energy is not going to let you sit still. It's going to move, whether you like it or not, whether it's in a destructive way that you are unaware of, or whether it's in a constructive way that you are intentionally utilizing this energy to move forward into more alignment. So with that being said, what do we want more of? First and foremost, we want to embrace so much more courage right now, even if it's clunky, even if it's messy. Embrace courage and bravery. We want more of that. More decisive action, 10 toes down. I am doing this today, even if it's not perfect, even if it's scattered, even if it's only 20 minutes, even if it is the teeniest, tiniest step that you can take. Decide and act. We want more of that. Next, we want more self-trust to figure things out as we go. So this is where that self-trust versus getting into planning and processing over and over. We're doing less planning, we're doing less processing. We are doing more action taking and figuring it out as we go. We're embracing that kind of toddler energy right now where we are letting ourselves fall down and get back up and then play. And it's okay. It's not that deep. We're embracing more of that self-trust to play, to figure it out as we go along. We want more authentic and honest expression. Say what you mean what you say. The era of curating ourselves, curating a brand, the era of censoring ourselves, the era of curating this pretty, beautiful highlight reel type of feed, the era of the fancy podcast studio that's like overproduced, the era of censoring ourselves online especially, that's over. So we want more authentic, honest expression. Last but not least, this is probably the most important part of the Aries energy that we are in. We want to embrace more physical movement right now. Aries is ruled by Mars. Mars is very much actionable physical energy. And so if you don't move this energy, this Aries energy out of your body, you're gonna drive yourself insane right now. Go for a walk, punch a punching bag, scream into a pillow, start lifting weights. Do something to get this Aries energy out of your body in a way that is constructive, making your body feel like it went through conflict without having to engage in conflict. Exercise is like the easiest way to do that and to stay regulated throughout the day. So if you are privileged enough with a body that works, get this Aries energy moving out of your body.
So there may be a slight angle or lighting change here because I had to have a brief interruption to run to Costco real quick while I was filming. So let's get back into it. So we just went over our less of this, more of this. What goes hand in hand with that is actions, behaviors, energy that is going to be supportive versus what's going to block us. So let's start off with what flows, what's going to help us flow with this energy. Starting something new with no plan and without overthinking it. Taking full-blown decisive action, 10 toes in, just like we said before, based on your clear first instinct, not your emotional response, not your emotional reaction, but your clear first instinct, even if it doesn't make sense. Speaking more directly.
That's going to flow really well right now. Starting a new workout or exercise routine, weightlifting, dancing, movement, something to get this angsty energy out of your body, that's going to flow super well right now. Even if on day one you don't want to show up, when you show up on day one, the energy and the momentum will flow well to stick with it right now. And similar to the exercise, we're gonna work with our bursts of energy, our bursts of motivation, our bursts of inspiration in the moment. We're going to work with it, take action without overthinking it, and continue to show up for that said thing over and over the next day and the next day, so that we can continue to build momentum. That energy is going to flow really, really well. Now, what's going to block us? What's going to create stagnancy, chaos, destruction with the energy right now? Being impatient, or a general unwillingness to pause and reflect before reacting. If you are reacting from impatience, that is going to bring more chaos, destruction, sabotage into your life right now. If you are in that over planning, over analyzing, made the same business plan 10 times over, you're just going to bring more chaos. If you, up to this point, have never addressed your nervous system, your emotional dysregulation, your inner child wounds, insecurities, things like that, they're going to feel really loud right now, and you will probably be called out on them more often than you would have before. If you're lashing out and crashing out on everybody else, it's going to be extremely apparent right now who is lashing out and crashing out from a place of authenticity and who's lashing out and crashing out from a place of wounding. Another thing that's going to block you right now is if you do take that first step of action but then completely abandon it after that, that's going to bring more chaos and confusion at this time. So continue to show up even if you don't want to. Even if you're showing up messy, like today, I'm showing up messy. I don't have a perfect setup that's going to have the best audio quality, nor did I have the schedule today to film consecutively, but I'm still showing up imperfectly anyway. So take action and stick to it, or you're going to feel blocked. So the goal with knowing like this less and more to lean into, this what blocks, what flows right now, isn't to remove challenges altogether. That's not why we're here. We're human. We're here to embrace adversity and grow and evolve from said adversity. However, the goal is to be aware of it, be aware of the energy, bring it from the subconscious to the conscious, so that we know how to respond to it and can respond with agency. I will be choosing to show up in a way that feels honest, that feels brave, that feels courageous. And when I catch myself in those tendencies of impulsivity, reactiveness, projecting onto others, gossiping, those are the types of things that I can reflect on during this new moon and be like, okay, I need to lean into more bravery, courage, action, decisiveness, and lean away from reactivity, impulsivity, things like that. So that's kind of how I use the moon energies, is just knowing what to lean into and what shadows to reflect on. Now, this is probably one of my favorite parts, and this is where we can actually get into some self-reflection here. So if you actually want to work with this energy and your own evolution on a deeper level, I want to give you one super potent reflective question that you can either journal on or just sit with. I will put it on the screen here too, so you can pause this and write it down if you want to. And that question is, where in my life do I know in my bones that I need to take action on? But I've been avoiding that action until I feel ready, quote unquote, ready. Because when are we ever ready for change? Again, I'll repeat it. Where in my life do I know in my bones that I need to take action on, but I have been avoiding action until I'm ready? Then, if you want to take this one step further, I have an additional follow-up question to sit with. What part of me feels afraid, unsure, or resistant to taking the action I know I need to? And what does that part of me actually need in order to feel safe doing so? Go ahead and sit with that this lunation. Now let's get into embodiment practices. What action can we actually take to integrate this energy in the way it needs to be integrated into our nervous system, into our bodies, when we're journaling, when we're intention setting? How can we actually solidify the energy into our physical bodies? Let's talk about it. I'm going to give 2 ideas for embodiment practices. You can feel free to make it your own. It's more so just to give you inspiration of what will be most in alignment for you and the energy that we're working with. Because Aries is such a physical action and body-based energy, it's super important that we get out of the mental space when, it's so fun to listen to this and listen to other podcasts and videos and whatnot, breaking down the astrology of it all and staying in the mental. We are not just analyzing the energy, that we are physically embodying it, which means physically moving it through our bodies. The first option is so very simple, and it is exercise. Move your body, physical movement. So this can look like going to the gym. This can look like taking your dogs for a walk. This can look like doing a quick 10-minute living room workout on YouTube. This can look like throwing on a playlist for 10 minutes and just dancing, shaking, doing some somatic movement or somatic dance. Which, by the way, if you do want an Aries coded playlist, I have made one on Spotify, and you can access the Aries Spotify playlist below. It will help you really get into the energy and is a good one for working out or somatic movement as well. Really, physical movement, anything that's going to get your body moving. And the reason for this is because Aries energy builds up in our bodies so quickly that it can also quickly turn into angst, frustration, lashing out and crashing out, or just overall restlessness and anxiousness, lack of being able to sleep if you don't physically move it out of the body. So if you're trying to avoid feeling frustrated, feeling irritable, or if that's coming up for you this week, or if you're feeling restless, move your body. I promise it will help you this week. Something as simple as pushing yourself through a workout or a body movement exercise that you didn't feel like doing is how we work with this energy. Like, that's textbook how we're working with this Aries stellium. We gotta fight for it. You might not want to do it, but you gotta fight for it. You gotta fight for your alignment instead of working against it by sitting still and doing nothing and then just letting all this frustration and angst eat at your body. Okay, second practice that you can choose from. Now, feel free to do both of these, none of these, whatever. And that is voice activation. So Aries energy is all about authenticity and expression in a lot of ways too, because we're taking action, we're taking risk, we're embracing being bold. So speaking truth out loud, speaking your truth out loud can be an incredibly empowering practice right now. This could look like just voice note journaling, and you're not even going to send it to anybody. You're just speaking it out loud to yourself and practicing. This could also be as simple as speaking your truth out loud when you're in your relationships and when you're in interactions. If you are around someone that you are normally walking on eggshells around, now could be the time to really stand on business and your boundaries and say, no, this doesn't work for me, or yes, this is what works for me. Speaking your truth out loud without filtering it, without overly censoring it. Now, the caveat with this is that doesn't mean lash out and crash out and project all of your anger onto everybody else. But what it does mean is just be more authentic and say what you mean what you say. So those are my 2 embodiment practices for you. The more that you can practice, like speaking up and expressing your voice, and bonus points if you're using that vocal activation after you have moved your body, the more you're going to feel aligned with this energy instead of overwhelmed or frustrated by it. So all in all, if you're still here with me, thank you for listening, thank you for watching. Overall, if there's nothing else you take away from this video, it's that this new moon in Aries is all about new beginning energy. But it's not the type of new beginning where you're going to feel sure or you're going to feel certain about it. You might even feel insecure about it and totally unprepared. But what this energy is asking of us is to lean into radical self-trust. Like, 10 toes down. I trust myself even if I'm unsure and insecure about myself. So take action, move forward, do what you need to do, even if you're not sure about it. Clarity will come through action, not through inaction. And wherever you do go, whether you sit still, whether you choose to, bring more chaos and destruction, or whether you choose to embody bravery and new beginnings, this lunation will set the tone of your upcoming next 6 months. So take the leap, take the next step. If you enjoyed this, if you related to this, if you got something from this, let me know down in the comments what's activating for you this week with all of this Aries energy. What area of your life is feeling like super fast, feeling like new beginnings are happening in that area? Let me know. And if you're an astrology nerd like me, also let me know where this is happening for you. What's your rising sign? I want to know. So again, I will be doing these as consistently as I can with each new moon and full moon. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. If you enjoyed it, it helps us a lot here on YouTube with the algorithm. And I will see you in the next video. Bye. Thank you.